Hola a todos! In this video, we're going to discuss the differences between ser and estar. This can be a somewhat challenging concept to grasp, so make sure that you really pay attention to this video and write down any questions so that tomorrow we can start practice on ser and estar in class. At this point, all of you should have already heard of ser and estar, and you should know that the meaning means to be. And in English, to be is conjugated as is and are. And the verb to be, or at least conjugating it into is or are, is definitely the most common word used in the English language. And it's the same thing in Spanish. Ser and estar are used in almost every sentence. So it's really important that we know the difference between using ser and estar. What's so complicated is that in English, we only have one form of to be, or is or are. But in Spanish, depending on what you're trying to say, is when you need to know when to use ser and estar. And that's what we'll be talking about today. Okay, so before we start discussing the difference between ser and estar, let's look at how to be in English is conjugated. So we start out in the I form. So I am. Then we have you are. He, she is. We are. And you all or they all are. Again, that's how we do it in English. Let's quickly review how to conjugate ser in the present form. So, yo soy, tú eres, él, usted es, nosotros somos, ellos, ellas, and ustedes son. Now let's conjugate estar. Yo estoy, tú estás, él, usted está, nosotros estamos, ellos, ellas, ustedes están. So now I'm going to give you 3 different ways for you to remember when to use ser and estar. So the first way that I have for you, it is how you feel and where you are. That's when you use the verb estar. And I'm actually going to make this red because you'll see throughout the video for every time that I use estar, I use red, and every time that I use ser, I use blue. So if you ask yourself this in your head, how I'm feeling, or where I am, that's when I'm going to use estar. How you feel and where you are, that's when you use the verb estar. Another way that you can remember the difference between ser and estar is that ser is used for permanent things and estar is used for temporary. So for ser, if I want to say that I am Señora Mora, I would say yo soy Señora Mora because I am always Señora Mora. For temporary, so if I want to say yo estoy contenta, I am happy, right now I am happy, so it's temporary. The third and final way that we can remember ser and estar is an acronym. So for ser, the acronym would be doctor, and for estar, the acronym is place. When using ser, the acronym doctor stands for D is date, O is occupation, C is characteristic, T for time, O for origin or religion, R is relation or possession. For D and date, an example would be Hoy es el 4 de julio. And that means today is July 4th. So remember, we use, for dates, we would use es. Hoy es el 4 de julio. O for occupation. So for the first example, Luis es policía. Luis is a police officer. And then we have, tú eres estudiante. You are a student. There it is. So we use ser for both of these. Luis es policía. And notice how we don't say es un policía. In Spanish, we don't use we just says he is police. So él es policía and tú eres estudiante. You are a student. C in doctor stands for characteristic or describing something. The first example that we have is yo soy alta. There we go. I am tall. So I am describing myself. I am a tall person. El gato es gordo. The cat is fat. Okay? So that's describing him. T stands for time. So if I wanted to say, son las 5:30 de la mañana, it is 5:30 in the morning, or it's 5:30 a.m. I would use son for this. The O in doctor stands for origin and religion. So origin is basically where you're from, or where something is from. An example of that would be, ellos son de Panamá. They are from Panama. This goes into that ser being permanent and estar being temporary, because where you're born, you're always from there. You can't really change that. So if I say, yo soy de Georgia, I am from Georgia, and I will always be from Georgia. An example of a religion would be, nosotros somos católicos. We are Catholic. The R in doctor stands for relationship and possession. So for the first example, ellas son hermanas. They are sisters. This also falls in the category of permanence, because they will always be sisters. They can't really change that even if they wanted to. An example of possession would be, es mi libro. So it is my book. So we finished with ser, and remember that the acronym for ser is doctor. If I went too fast on any of that, or if you don't quite understand something, remember that you can always rewind and rewatch certain sections if you need to. Also, write down any questions that you may have, and we can go over that tomorrow in class. So let's move on to estar. The acronym for estar is place. P is for position, L is for location, A is action or present progressive, C is for condition, and E is for emotion. Remember that all of these fall under being temporary. Ser is permanent and estar is temporary. And you'll see with all of these that really follows under that temporary estar form. So P for position. A good example for that would be, él está sentado. He is sat. Okay, he's temporarily sat down. It's not forever, it's just temporary. For L in place would stand for location. Tú estás en la tienda. You are at the store. It's temporary. I'm only temporary at the store. I'm not going to be there forever. There's not glue at the bottom of my feet. So, location is temporary. You would use estar. Tú estás en la tienda. A stands for action or present progressive, so something that you are doing. An example would be, yo estoy hablando. I am speaking. It's something that I am doing right now and not forever and ever. C stands for condition. So, mi prima está enferma. My cousin is sick. And last but not least, we have E for emotion. Yo estoy feliz. I am happy. This one you have to be very careful with, because if I say yo soy feliz, that's saying that I am a happy person. But if I say yo estoy feliz, that means I am happy. So the difference between ser being permanent, so I'm always happy, I'm just a happy person, and estar being temporary, so right now I am happy. Those you have to be very careful with. That's it. You just learned 3 ways to help remember the difference between ser and estar. So let's do a quick repaso. One way is to ask yourself how you feel or where you are. That's when you use the verb estar. Another way is to remember that estar is temporary and ser is permanent. And the last way is to remember the acronym of doctor is ser and place is estar. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, make sure that you write them down, or you can go back and rewatch this video. Adios!